I'm Joseph.
And I'm Nick.
This is Fish Jelly.
Sure is.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Okay.
Oh, yeah?
So Christmas passed.
Yep. Ghost Christmas past.
For those who care, I hope you had a nice holiday. And New Year's is approaching.
Oh, yes.
Do you have a New Year's resolution?
I didn't even think about that yet.
I think mine is going to be to consume less sugar.
That is a good one.
I'm not trying to lose weight. I just need to stop eating so much sugar. I'm afraid of developing type 2 diabetes.
Yes. Well, funny story. When I first met Joseph, this mofo told me he was diabetic. And my mother ran the diabetic unit in the
So he runs and tells her.
I was like, oh my God, this man that I think I'm dating is diabetic. And she gave me all these tips. And then I came back with all this information for you. You also said you didn't like the taste of water. When we
I don't remember that.
Oh, I do. And,
I don't remember that.
And then like I was throwing all this stuff out at you. Because also we met her on the time it was right before your 30th birthday. And I'd made you a big red velvet cake. And so I was trying to come at you with all this diabetic information. And then you're like, nah, I'm not really diabetic. Like, what?
Well, to be fair to myself, I have always had food issues. And right before I had met you, I had gone to get a physical and did my blood work.
Yes.
And I was told that my blood sugar was higher than it should be, but not qualified. Well, I think the range of like pre-diabetic is pretty broad.
You just pushed yourself into the territory mentally.
Yeah, but I wasn't told like specifically you're pre-diabetic. It was just like you should probably, and I think at that time I had also probably been the heaviest I had ever been.
Really? Well, that's not my memory.
But prior to me like getting to know you, I had lost weight before, but I was the heaviest I'd been.
You were on the Janet cycle of.
So, I was trying to be mindful, and I thought, if I just say that, then maybe it'll be like, don't give me sweets, don't buy me cakes and cookies. And
sure.
That didn't work though.
No, it didn't. But well, that's a love language thing. But I agree. I also, from the moment we did Whole30 for the first time a decade ago now, was how I kind of started feeling like there was a difference in how my body felt based on what I was putting into it. And I definitely feel a difference eating sugar because I eat a lot less. But I agree. I love it. I like sharing sugary things. As a bonding thing too. But I don't. I agree. Less is better. It should be a treat. It shouldn't be every day.
Okay, we reviewed the HBO Max series Heated Rivalry.
Oh, yes.
And there was a lot of feedback about how we're assholes for our commentary about Shane.
He's boring.
Because apparently he's neurodivergent.
I actually had conversations with people last night about this too, because I don't recall us being directed to know that.
First of all, the series does not say this man is autistic, neurodivergent, and the word boring is a word that his lovely lady lumps calls him.
And I concur.
Ilya calls Shane boring multiple times. So I'm just repeating what his man said. Also, from my research, the novels don't say Shane is autistic. The author has said she believes Shane is autistic, and the actor playing Shane says that with that knowledge, he infused that into the performance. Okay, but I watched the series. I didn't read the books, and even if I did, they didn't say he was autistic, and the series damn sure didn't say that.
That shit is the same thing as J.K. Rowling saying Dumbledore was gay well after all the effing movies came out, and it's like, okay.
I think that the commentary of like, you should have known by his behavior that he's autistic is crazy.
I don't read minds.
First of all, y'all be self-diagnosing, which is a problem. And now you expect me to start I'm not a mental health professional. I'm not a healthcare professional. I am not.
Y'all jumped on Amanda Seal's ass for self-diagnosing.
Imagine if I started just like making assumptions of people's health based on how they behave and then talking like, oh yeah, she's schizophrenic, she's depressed.
That's like saying if a woman's got a little bit belly that you think it's a baby bump. No, tell me?
No one told me he's autistic. He just reads as a closeted, boring, mask presenting guy who's a professional sports player. So you know what he acts like to me? How Tyler Perry tries to pretend he's straight. That's how Shane is. Like,
to me, that behavior looked closeted. As my experience as a queer man is that is closet behavior. And if there are other things that you dig down deeper in, then I need to be told that.
But anyway, shifting from going on a rant.
Chapter 7 of my memoir will now be no one told me he was autistic.
But anyway, I think that the interesting part of all this is that everyone receives content differently. So I think clearly women really enjoy the series of books and the show. I also understand that a viewership of straight men for Heated Rivalry is greater than you would expect. So that's cool. And then gay men viewing content like this is also interesting because you have a cohort of people who are just lusting after these actors.
Yeah.
And so that's all they care about.
They don't care about the quality control about anything else. Yeah.
But then if you're like me and that's not really there are plenty. I find most people attractive and I still don't like their movies. Like, I'm not going to be swayed to like something just because I think someone's attractive.
Oh, yeah. That pretty privilege doesn't work with me.
But I think that, there are a lot of people who that's the number one priority, and good for you. I'm sure that works really well in your love life. But
and
I was coming to this series as a very experienced gay man,
but with
a particular age,
with an open mind and an open heart.
Yeah. And so that's the beauty of it all, I think.
I don't think we gave it a
see. And then also people didn't listen to the full hour and a half because ultimately
I wouldn't expect them to if they don't want to.
No, they heard the first 5 minutes of me saying that the shit was kind of boring and that if it weren't for everyone nagging me about it and committing to reviewing it, I probably would have stopped. But if they keep listening to the review, we do say that we do like the characters. And Nick actually liked the show a little bit more than I did, but we both said it was fresh on Rotten Tomatoes. So I don't know what more y'all want. But every comment I'm getting that's like trying to read, you're just getting blocked. Anyway.
Oh, no. Read me. I don't care.
I'm going to send you a picture.
Because I'll read you right back, mother. Anyway.
Okay, we're done.
Okay.
I'm sending you a picture.
Okay. On what platform?
It should be a text message.
Oh, text. Oh, yes. Oh, God.
So I was watching a clip. Stedman Graham,
oh
who
my
is
God.
Oprah's longtime partner, he was on a podcast, and what he was saying is not important. It's his hair.
It's how he looks.
Can you describe his hairdo?
Why are you trying to trip me up like that? Okay, that... well, he's lined up.
It's business in the front, party in the back. But the texture of the hair, first of all,
if you just show me this hair, I think it was John Carpenter.
The hair in front looks like transplanted hair. That's a very different texture from the hair that's...
I mean, Stedman's a big man, and I guess you should have a high forehead if you're a big man.
But it's like he has a mullet, but the mullet is very straight hair. It almost looks like they're clip-ins.
Oh.
And then the hair around his ear is not properly trimmed. The hair is wild.
The hair's wild, but you know what? He doesn't, because how old is he? He looks good. Besides that,
Stedman looks good beyond his hair, but I'm just saying that hair is crazy.
Let me just crop this out.
And I need to know, because Oprah has famously, been very concerned about her hair and has beautiful hair.
Mm-hmm.
I'm surprised that she hasn't said like, Joe,
well,
you can't be out here with a mullet.
I mean, maybe
that looks like you have clip-ins.
That might be the deal, though. Stedman gets to have his hair the way he wants because he didn't get to put a ring on it, right?
So I'm gonna I'll post this picture in like the community section.
Remember we saw him from a distance in Minneapolis. He was wandering around on Nicollet Mall.
Yep.
Yeah.
Next, Justin Timberlake and Jessica Biel have filed for divorce.
Oh wow. Okay.
I don't care about Justin Timberlake, but I can see why Jessica Biel wanted to leave him. And I don't even know them people, but
wait, this is gonna ruin the tour. What did he say to that cop?
Yeah.
Was that it?
Yeah, the world tour.
This is gonna ruin the world tour.
Okay. There is a show that I don't know called Ned's Classified School Survival Guide.
Oh.
I don't know if that was on Nickelodeon or Disney. I don't know what it was. But there was an actor on there named Tyler Chase.
Okay.
And a video of him went viral because he's homeless and a drug addict and like...
How old is this show? It's not.
These people look younger than I am, so I'm assuming the show was like the early 2000s.
Oh, so he's on the Andy Dick train.
But he looks like in really, really bad shape.
Ugh.
So then like a day later, and this is like around Christmas time, so a day later, another actor on the show, Daniel Curtis Lee, went to go find him. So like his co-star from that show back in the day went to go find him and get him a hotel room for the holidays. And also because if people don't know, LA for like 3 days straight had really heavy rain.
Yeah.
So his ex co-star, who didn't know that
he was struggling.
He was struggling. He's beyond struggling. He is.
I think he's going to need
really
more than a room, but great start.
His old co-star got him a hotel room, and first of all, of course, the co-star went with cameras and following him, and it's like, okay, well. I mean, that's not something I would do, is record myself trying to help someone. But a couple days later, the man who got him the room posted a video saying that hotel management contacted him because Tyler Chase destroyed the hotel room.
Yeah. See?
So now Daniel Curtis Lee made this video saying, I don't know what to do. Like, if anyone has any experience with this, like, has anyone ever had someone put on a 5150? Does that work?
I was going to say, that was the next thing I was going to say.
But I think it's like this, to me, this is the perfect example of people need more help than we think. I'm not implying that Daniel Curtis Lee did this for the gram, but also it's like, if your altruism has to be recorded and documented,
then it's something else.
Because it's like you're going to get a lot of, and I'm not saying he did this for this, but it's like you get a lot of attention. There are countless videos on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube of people trying to do nice things for people. And it's like,
that's allyship performance.
You're embarrassing them. This is not helpful. You giving someone $20, but making them shuck and jive for it.
No.
Like that's not going to get them off the streets. That's not going to sustain proper nutrition.
In fact, that might trigger something and make at least the day worse for them. So.
But I'm not saying that this actor did this for this other former actor for clout, but it just shows that like people need there needs to be an infrastructure to.
If it was as simple as giving somebody like enough food for a few days or temporary shelter to resolve their problems, then we would have homelessness resolved. But it takes there's so much more than that.
But I just kind of felt like that's pretty naive. And also, if you think I'm some unhoused drug addict, I'm not getting you a room with my credit card on there for incidentals. Like, again, I've already made it very clear that
and who knows, if somebody, if he's not at rock bottom, he's damn near it. Your old co-star, who's still fine, has, swooped in like there are so many complex feelings that person could be having. I don't know.
I'm sure his intentions were fine, so I'm not trying to,
of course,
rag on him. But it's just more that
we all know what the road to where is paved with good intentions.
It just goes to show that a lot of people need more help than just a handout. But I don't know the solution. Anyway, you took a Waymo for the first time.
I did. It's odd not having, because usually I try to be very polite to whoever's driving me around.
Is it hard to be polite?
No. I
try.
I kind of enjoy. I actually kind of enjoy, because I usually go out on the weekends, and I enjoy the ride to and from where I'm going, because I'm perfectly fine being quiet. I love that too. But I've had so many interesting and strange conversations with people, and that you would never have otherwise. And I've come to kind of appreciate that a little. I like it. I like the humanness of it. So Waymo is fine, but like you and I were having a conversation, and it felt weird to be talking so candidly, because usually I'm on.
Well, we're being recorded, so someone's listening.
Well, right, like but yeah, I don't know.
All right, there is something in the Sorry to This Man section.
Was it that with the Thomasin McKenzie, I said she was British?
No,
and she's from New Zealand. I'm so sorry. I think I did say that.
Oh, okay. No, when I reported that Paul Dano clapped back at Quentin Tarantino, that wasn't actually Paul Dano.
Oh.
That's a content creator named Cade Huseby.
Oh. See, I didn't verify.
Who's known for like his TikToks, and he features parodies and commentary, but he's gained attention because he looks like Paul Dano.
Oh, well, he
does look like Paul Dano.
He's not very good at writing poetry.
So he, did this skit that went around as if it were Paul Dano, and I got duped. Moving on to films released we didn't cover.
Oh, yes.
Silent Friend.
Oh, this was, I think this might be in my top 10 of the year, but this is one of the very few end of the year titles we didn't cover. I saw it in Venice. I loved it. It is directed by Ildiko Agnelli. It won some prize out of Venice, but basically Tony Leung is the star. I think it's his first English-speaking role in a very illustrious career. And the beautiful Lea Seydoux does have a supporting character, but it's set in a botanical garden in Germany, and it goes across 3 distinct periods of people that kind of have this relationship with a tree. the silent friend. It's so much more beautiful and existential than this than that brief synopsis would suggest, but I highly recommend it. It kind of is the optimistic version of Bertrand Bonello's La Bête, the Beast, which I probably, I do have a nihilistic side to me. That is, I like that film a tad more. But if you have the opportunity to see Silent Friend, I would highly recommend it.
The Coral.
I asked you if you wanted to review this, and you were kind of like, no. But it does star Ray Fiennes, and I have not seen this. It opened Christmas Day, and it's set during World War I. And Ray Fiennes is, I think, doing kind of therapy sessions with these men, that like a men's chorus. So it's a musical film, but it's directed. But I like Ray Fiennes well enough, but I'm probably more interested because it's directed by Nicholas Hittner, whose version of The Crucible I really like. Also, The Madness of King George with Helen Mirren, I think, is very much worth seeking out if you haven't seen it. But yes, that opened on Christmas as well.
Lastly, Cover Up.
Cover Up is the new. I feel like this got no attention, and I think this was in Venice as well, so I didn't see it. It might be on Netflix. It's the new. It was co-directed by Laura Poitras. You're familiar with Ms. Poitras. I think we were both huge fans of All the Beauty and the Bloodshed in 2022. Mark Obenhaus is also a co-director, and it is about the journalist Seymour Hersh, a political journalist. So that's all I know. I'm not familiar with Mr. Hersh's work, but I would like to catch up with that because Poitras is somebody who, as a documentarian, I think is at the top of her game.
Projects of interest. The Wasp Woman.
I knew about this last week, and I think I posted about it on Instagram because I was so excited, and then forgot to talk about it on the podcast. But the Paul Dinello and Amy Sedaris, who you should also know from Strangers with Candy when they worked together, and on the prequel movie, they're going to do a remake of The Wasp Woman, which is a fantastically, if you like The Leech Woman, The Wasp Woman is, you should also see. Same period, but it's 1960, I believe. Susan Cabot, Roger Corman directed, and it's about a woman who runs like a beauty, some kind of beauty product line, and is obsessed with staying young, and uses this wasp jelly and ends up turning into a wasp. But it starred Susan Cabot, who has a very interesting story. Ms. Cabot was, of course, an actress, and she had a son who suffered from dwarfism, is how it's usually described, which is most likely an outdated term. But I think they had a very codependent, toxic, alcoholic relationship between mother and son, and he murdered her. And they were going to make a movie about it years and years ago starring Rose McGowan that never happened. But I happened to be in New York one fall, and I've talked about it before, this over 2 years ago, where Sean Young was on this off-Broadway musical production about the Wasp Woman. So I'm fascinated by the Wasp Woman. So these two yoo-hoos doing, it's got to be a comedy, but I am excited.
And Elsinore.
I just read about this. It's the new project directed by Simon Stone, who did The Dig with Carey Mulligan, who is much too young to be in that role. And it is a recuperative story about an actor who's probably best known from the film Chariots of Fire. And his name is, I'm forgetting his name actually, but he died of AIDS-related complications. But I think it's about this actor's last stand on stage as Hamlet at the National Theatre in London, and I think struggling to finish that run and dying at the age of 40 in the early 90s. But Andrew Scott's going to play him, and Olivia Colman has also signed on to star. So that sounds like, Eric Liddell. I'm sorry, that is the name of the actor.
This past week on Patreon, we have a review for the Patti Smith documentary Dream of Life.
Yes.
So people can check that out at a cost, of course.
A mere pittance, I'm sure.
Unfortunately, there are many entries in the obituary section again.
It's the end of the year, people be dying.
Kevin Arcady, who is an American television writer and producer, known for his work on New York Undercover, Chicago Hope and the Shield. He died at the age of 68. Then we have James Ransone.
This was a bummer.
He's an American actor who I recognize from the Sinister movies and The Black Phone. He died at the age of 46.
And two excellent Sean Baker films, Starlet and Tangerine.
But apparently he died from suicide.
I did get to meet him at Sundance in 2015 for Tangerine, and I interviewed him and Maya Taylor, who were both extremely lovely. He was so down to earth and friendly and affable. Like, I even remember asking, like, how exactly do you say your last name? He's like, I don't know, however you want. he was a lovely person, and that was sad to hear that.
Aruni Nanthawat, who is a Thai voice actress, she died at the age of 69. Then we have Pat Finn, an American film and television actor. He died at the age of 60. A Big Brother contestant, Mickey Lee, she died. She was only 35 years old.
God.
And then another story that caught my attention is there's a former Broadway actor. She was in The Lion King. She played young Nala. Her name is Amani Diaz-Smith. She died at the age of 26, but her 35-year-old boyfriend was arrested and accused of murdering her by stabbing her.
Oh, God.
But that's wild. And not morbid curiosity, but, you know, I am a true crime fanatic. I'm curious about this situation.
You are a true crime fanatic. You are your little brain is marinated in that because and it comes out in interesting ways because you're ultimately suspicious of every little thing.
Well, yeah.
I'm like, okay.
Because you know what I'm more curious about is like, were there signs or were there, like, our family members, were they concerned? Were there little things that, you know, we can look back on and see, like, this person had a violent nature, and those are the kind of things that strike me. But yeah, that's very sad as well. The secret film this week was my choice, and I chose the 2025 American zombie comedy Queens of the Dead, directed by Tina Romero.
Yes, you did choose this.
Why did I choose this? You were flipping through the IFC app and it popped up. So, of course, the title caught my attention. Then I saw the cast. Katy O'Brien, who I really like.
I do too.
Saw some drag queens in there. I saw Dominique Jackson, Cheyenne Jackson. My interest was piqued.
Well, you like drag maybe a little more than I do. I like Drag Race and its iterations, and that's fun and great. But drag in film has not worked well for me. And I remember when this came out in October, and I kind of just ignored it because I didn't want to have to deal with being extremely disappointed.
Oh, boy. The basic premise. Drag queens and club kids battle zombies craving brains during a zombie outbreak at their drag show in Brooklyn, putting personal conflicts aside to utilize their distinct abilities against the undead threat. What is your pull quote?
Okay, this film is quite well reviewed, which is shocking to me. I have two statements that I composed for this recording. The first, before I read my pull quote, is sort of I guess you would call a manifesto statement.
Can't wait.
Okay. Once upon a time, queer creatives were the progenitors of art and iconicity. In a tenuous age of complex assimilations and eroding camaraderie in the LGBTQ plus community, the need for escapism has only assisted in quelling our collective rebelliousness, funneling us into the go-with-the-flow demands of the masses, the historically heteronormative neuters who have always favored commerce over artistic merit. We can no longer accept a version of drag which steals an aesthetic merely to disguise meaningless entertainment designed solely to waste time. My pull quote, you ask. Unfortunately, celebrating something like Queens of the Dead from director Tina Romero, a film harnessing all the sycophantic charms of drag race-flavored frivolity more than it does the subversive zombie legacy of her iconic father's filmography, further negates the impactful possibilities of queer art that can be simultaneously entertaining and meaningful. I didn't like this film.
Mine. A queer zombie movie should be subversive, but Queens of the Dead settles for tired tropes and mixed performances, spiraling downward as it goes.
I was so probably the first 15 minutes in, I'm like, okay, this is 2.5 for me. Then a little bit after that, I'm like, it goes down to 2. The last 15 minutes, God.
Well, I didn't realize you were going to be so burdened by talking about this film. I thought it could be fun, particularly within the last 10 years. Films featuring drag queens haven't always been the best.
Yeah.
We reviewed I think 6 that I can think of, and there was only one that if you count Femme, which I think is excellent.
Femme is excellent. That doesn't count.
No, there's another film we reviewed, and I believe, oh gosh, I don't want to mix it up, but There was one that I thought was quite well done.
The age I am and how I grew up, drag queens, were on the periphery of the culture until 2008 when Drag Race really took off. Drag queens were the most resilient people you were going to meet. And all of these movies, they are presented so uselessly.
Well, immediately I'm thinking of Slay.
Which was what, 2020?
No, it's newer than that, isn't it?
Is it newer than? Well, I looked up that director who looks quite a bit like Tina Romero, really, with her style or their style. And they've done several films. They've done 2 films in 2024 and 2025. So
Slay is from 2024. It's a Tubi original. It is also a horror comedy film. And I don't recall thinking this one was very good either. However, I do think it works better than something like Queens of the Dead, because if you're going to feature drag queens, I think the environment has to support them. And so in Slay, you have 4 notable queens, as in their RuPaul's Drag Race queens.
Mm-hmm.
Trinity the Tuck, Heidi in Closet, Caramel, and Crystal Method. So when those queens are on the screen, particularly when they're interacting with each other, it feels a lot more like, I don't want to use the word natural, but the flow is less interrupted.
Sure.
But in other films where,
well,
because this Queens of the Dead, unfortunately, feels more like a cherry pop.
I agree. And
what's that one film we reviewed where people affiliated were upset?
God Save the Queens. Yeah, that was, we both have been approached by people on that production separately. Why can't we have, because both Slay and Queens of the Dead have that From Dusk Till Dawn feel, right? And it's like, why can't queer people have their sinners? Like, what? I don't know. It's just.
There's so much about this movie. I mean, I can't really think what works for me in Queens of the Dead. Except that I really like Katy O'Brien.
I think, again, talking about the disparity between how people are, how seasoned people are. Yes, I think she works well. I also did like Jack Haven, and I liked Tomas Matos. I think both of them have many moments that allowed my making it through this film much more easy.
Maybe I'll start by breaking down my pull quote, and which also involves yours, but this idea of being subversive. So a queer zombie movie. I expect there to be a hard-hitting message, that it might even be uncomfortable. And I understand, because you read an excerpt from an interview the director did, that they were struggling with what sort of social messaging or commentary they wanted to include. And then what they mentioned, I felt was
those
kind of weak.
Those were peripheral elements that you could have, if you had a hard-nosed editor that saw this film, they would cut that shit out, actually, because it really doesn't have anything to do with the flow. And I don't mean to put you on the spot, but you have not seen Romero's zombie films. I showed you Monkey Shines. I think we might have a podcast for that, but you haven't seen. The original Night of the Living Dead has Dwayne Jones, the first black man to make it to the end. And then, talking about commerce and consumerism as part of the zombie equation in the early films. I think Romero's early zombie films are great.
But getting back to what I was saying, the messaging that the director mentioned was like opioid abuse, our over-reliance on our cell phones, and there was a third one. Do you recall what that was?
Phone addiction, infighting in the community.
Okay, so the opioid situation. There is a peripheral character, which we'll get to more in depth, but she's a trans woman who's in the hospital, and we just find out that she overdosed. And that's about it. Then there are 2...
Jane, played by Eve Lindley.
Then there are 2 dancers in the nightclub that we're going to get to, one of whom it appears overdoses on Xanax, but then is also infected by a zombie, and we never see how, so that was confusing.
I thought they got bit on the floor, but
anyway, did they get bit on the floor? Okay, then the cell phone usage.
Keep it on the floor.
I'm not quite sure what depiction of our over-reliance on our phones is shown in this movie. I don't think we see people using phones any more than you see in any other modern movie.
Well, only how we can get further into this, but how the zombies are personified. Some of them, even though undead, are still connected to their phones and seem to be responding to like Instagram and shit and sex hookups, and but it's not really cohesive across the board. But I thought that in a minor way, it's making a commentary about how some of us might be zombies already.
I mean, if it is, it's very lukewarm. Then the infighting made me think of, I recently posted a meme of a picture of a magazine article that featured 3 gay men. And basically it's like a throuple who had to renovate a house.
Mm-hmm.
But then the meme comment was like 3 bottoms, 1 mission, endless possibilities. And I thought the infighting in this movie is not like hard hitting stuff. It's just a bunch of
It's minor squabbles.
Rainbow Mafia members being bitchy to each other. Like they're not actually saying anything of any depth to each other.
Which mirrors the film ultimately.
Okay, going back to my pull quote and saying that it settles for tired tropes. Probably the main thing that I can recall is, correcting people on pronouns. You have like a homophobic-ish character who shows up, which we'll get to.
He doesn't even read. He reads ignorant more than homophobic. He's still there trying to help his lesbian sister-in-law.
I mean, he definitely doesn't seem that homophobic to be. He seems,
he just seems like he doesn't want to be bothered.
As ignorant as everyone else walking around.
Exactly.
It's just that he's not a part of this community. And so he's kind of like, he's there doing his sister a favor, who is one of the members of the crew. Okay, then mixed performances.
Yeah.
Man, as we go through the characters, I feel like every single person in this film feels like they're in a different movie.
Yes, and that is also the job of the director to create that landscape and rein those in who are not fitting with their vision.
Just going through some of the main cast, you have Katy O'Brien, who I guess is the central protagonist.
Dre.
She feels like she's in a real movie.
She does, and she is acting accordingly, except for she has nothing to do.
Then you have Jaquel Spivey as Sam, who I recognize from the Mean Girls reboot.
Yeah.
He feels like he's in a different movie. That character is so downtrodden. The character's like backstory and arc is so confusing and delayed to me.
It's giving what's her name? Chocolate ganache.
Silky.
It's giving
Nutmeg
Silky.
Ganache.
It's giving Dr. Silky chocolate nutmeg ganache after being pummeled by
chocolate nutmeg.
After being pummeled by social media after her first stint on Drag Race.
I felt like that Sam character, you could have plopped him in the musical remake of The Color Purple and he would have fit.
Oh,
right.
yes. What is it? Sophia. He is so downtrodden.
It's giving You Told Harpo to Beat Me. Then you have Nina West, who people know from Drag Race. And Nina, God, I'm so all over the place, but the basic premise of the story is Katy O'Brien, Dre, is a party promoter, and she's known for giving these like hot parties in Brooklyn.
Mm-hmm.
And the featured sort of talent on this night is supposed to be Dominique Jackson, who I think her character's name is Yasmin.
Mm-hmm.
And then the main drag queen for the night is Nina West as like the host. And when we first meet Nina West, she's doing a lip sync performance to Kesha's Below. And I just think I've never been to a gay bar in Brooklyn. And I don't know the vibe, but I just don't think Nina West seems like that vibe.
Nina West is not the vibe in Brooklyn.
Okay, which really sucks because, well, first of all, Nina West feels like she's in a Drag Race acting challenge.
Well, she seems like, are you doing Tennessee Williams, girl? What is this Southern Juamana accent that's going on?
The accent was kind of making me uncomfortable because her facial expressions and body language were also giving me like, is she also trying to do a black accent?
I don't know.
It made me uncomfortable.
It was giving me Southern, but it didn't. Either of those things don't work.
But the unfortunate part of that is the film opens in a very promising way because we have a different drag queen who opens the film and she's strutting down the block in drag looking fabulous and walks into a church to give her tithes, which She has a funny line because she says something to the effect.
She
goes, here you, she puts the money in like the Tide box and like at the front of the church. And she's like, here you go, girl. I know it ain't easy working for tips. And then she's on her phone on some app called, it's like a fake app, but it's supposed to be like Sniffies. And she sees that there's someone 25 feet away looking for some action. So she goes cruising the church and walks into an office, sees a bloody cell phone, and then sees this hot zombie.
I wouldn't say hot, but sure. It's our first disappointment is how the zombies are designed.
Well, the zombies are like spray painted silver, which was reminding me of Detox in season 5 of Drag Race during that like futuristic challenge where she came out in like aluminum foil.
And when we see them all together like this later on, it's giving a Drag Race version of Michael Jackson's Thriller.
Sure. Well, I mean, the backstory of the zombies, I mean, there is none, and how they move and what their MO is. Sometimes they just stand there and wait, like, like when you're playing video games and you don't like move the controller and the thing is just standing there. That's how they act. Okay. Then you have Margaret Cho, who feels like she's in like making a cameo in like an early 2000s queer indie film.
Yes.
Because she plays this like butch lesbian lawyer
named Pops,
who's the fiance of, is it Jack Haven?
Jack Haven, who you know from I Saw the TV Glow. And every time Jack Haven's on screen, it gave me the opportunity, because you were confused about who they were, and it gave me the opportunity to just keep screaming at you, the pink opaque, the pink opaque.
Okay, Jack Haven, I did like them.
I did too. Yes.
They were quite funny because early on in the film, they get stabbed in the foot with an axe, so they're immobile. So they're just sitting in the middle of the dance floor while everyone else is, running around. And they're saying they're singing funny songs, and so that felt like a different movie.
Their character name is Kelsey, who's kind of a ditz.
What's the movie with the sewer boys and the flying vagina? And it features
Nathan Lane. Dick. It's the musical, right?
I feel like Jack Haven felt like they were in Dick's the Musical. Okay, you have Cheyenne Jackson playing a bartender
of unknown origin,
who seems like, I couldn't tell if it was the actor or the character who doesn't want to be there. You have Dominique Jackson.
There's a Bitcoin line, and Cheyenne's lost money and wants this party to be a success.
Dominique Jackson is supposed to be like a club kid diva.
You could have cut her out completely.
Well, and I like her from Pose, but
I do too. They just should have cast her as the Nina West character.
Well, or they could have just kept the main drag queen we saw in the beginning and have them be, they keep that drag queen as the main drag queen.
Also, the drag queen from the opening also becomes a zombie. And some of the zombies get nice prosthetics. Well, I wouldn't say they're nice, but they get
their faces look different.
Protruding bone structures. Yes.
Okay, the story. So an outbreak begins. We don't know how, when, why, but all of a sudden it's like a full-on apocalypse.
Mm-hmm.
And you have this motley crew of people in this warehouse in Brooklyn trying to prepare for this party. So Katy O'Brien's trying to keep everything afloat. The performers are fighting, like just very basic, very, very basic, just bitchiness. Katy O'Brien's wife is portrayed by
Riki Lindhome, who you've seen in many things. We just saw her. What did we just reviewed something with her, and I'm blinking on it.
She looks familiar.
Oh, the Hand That Rocks the Cradle redo.
Oh, that's right.
Mm-hmm.
So Riki Lindhome is Katy O'Brien's wife. She's a nurse.
Yeah.
So that takes us out of the warehouse and into a hospital. So we're in the hospital, and that's where we meet Sam, Jaquel Spivey's character. He's also a nurse.
Yes.
And one of his patients is this trans woman who's overdosed, and she doesn't want to stay because she feels like she's not going to get the care.
And like I said, that's Eve Lindley, who is also in Bros, a film that suffers from similar.
And see, this is a problem I have, is that the social commentary could be that as queer and trans people, we don't receive care that's tailored to our needs or that's respectful, right?
Correct.
But the problem with that is the two nurses we see in this hospital
They're doing that.
Are both queer, and the actual nurse of this trans woman is a gay Black man who's also a drag queen who is also super attentive and patient and mindful of her.
Have we talked about Sam's drag persona yet?
Okay. So Sam, the nurse, his drag persona is named Samonse,
who apparently was the belle of the ball of the community until very recently, but Nico / Scrumptious has never heard of them.
They make Samonse seem like if RuPaul just quit Drag Race.
Right? Or like a...
and then they had to find another host like tomorrow.
Like a non-drag girl legend like Lady Bunny or Coco Peru. Like Samonse is introduced as having that stature, but not, you can't have that name.
So then you think, okay, well, why is Samonse not doing drag? I don't know if you understand this, but I just didn't.
From what I understand is they suddenly got stage fright.
Yeah, they have like performance anxiety, which does not match.
But and the kicker is they had this stage fright right before they were supposed to headline a show
for Dre,
and she had to pay everybody back like over $9,000.
So there's a little bit of tension between Dre and Samonse, which we find out because Dre calls her wife, Riki Lindhome, saying like, "Oh, today's going to shit because
Yasmin has backed out,
and
who is pretended she's sick, but is only 2 blocks away."
Oh no, we need to get back to Yasmin's raggedy ass. But the wife, Riki Lindhome, says, "Well, I can always ask Samonse to perform," and Sam happens to be standing in front of the nurse's station. So Sam's like, "No, don't tell her." And Dre is like, "No, let's not do that." But ultimately, Sam does show up. But the thing that was driving me crazy was Sam doesn't appear to have the kind of social anxiety that would stop them from doing something they love. They're an amazing nurse. They're walking around with bunny ears on. They clearly like attention.
Right.
I don't understand. And then they keep hyping up Samonse. And it's not until the final scene.
Which I didn't need. No.
Well, then I was so frustrated because Samonse,
whose drag mother is the Nina West character, which makes no sense because when Sam comes into the bar and his drag mother is Nina West, she's like, "Oh, where you been?" Like, okay.
But Samonse performs at the end when they finally make an appearance, and we're going to get to why they actually get into drag. But they do their own performance of Kesha's Blow.
But why isn't it not a Beyonce song? Because they don't have the rights. But to Blow.
But we opened with another drag queen performing to the actual song Blow.
What?
But Samonse's version, I think, is Jaquel Spivey's actual voice singing, which sounds really nice.
Sounds great, but also give him a different name that doesn't rhyme with Beyonce.
And give him a different song. Why did they both perform the same song?
It could have literally been anything because the point of it is not the song.
But I got off track. I was going through the plot. So the outbreak begins. So everyone's phone starts buzzing that there's an emergency. You need to stay in place.
Uh-huh.
So then there's kind of chaos because they don't know what to do. Margaret Cho shows up, which causes chaos.
Uh-huh.
But it's through Margaret Cho's character that we learn there's a fairy that should be able to take them to safety, which doesn't really make sense because Margaret Cho says that I have a ferry. But it's like, okay, so you want me to drive across town to get to a boat to go where? Like, we don't know what's going on.
And who else? Do you think there aren't other people in this zombie-infected
who aren't going to jump on any boat they can find and try to get away? But anyway, Margaret Cho ends up getting killed by a bunch of rats. Well, she starts getting eaten alive by rats and decides to electrocute herself. But anyway, because
Zombie
of her,
rats, yes.
we know that there is a boat. So they have the bright idea because Dominique Jackson finally shows up.
Yes, Yasmin does stop up. She pops in.
And like you mentioned, she canceled the gig because she was hired to do a different gig promoting some vodka and clearly made more money, even though it's only 2 blocks away. And Dre tells Yasmin, Dominique Jackson's character, you don't have to perform. You can just come and like say hi.
There's no way
that lady wouldn't have come and got a check.
She would have done both. She was like, let me get my money. Yes.
And also after she cancels, she gets on social media and literally post like, I'm doing this thing tonight.
Right.
So that didn't make any sense to me. But Yasmin tells everyone, at the activation I was working, there's a van and I have the keys to it. So if y'all can get there, you can get the van and we can go to the ferry. So then they realize that the cops are giving everyone a hard time out there on these streets because of the zombies. And the only people they're not bothering are first responders. So then we get the most bootleg Tu Wong Fu makeover scene. It was like the shittiest design challenge with unconventional materials. 3 of them decide that they're going to dress up like first responders.
Mm-hmm.
And it's Sam, Nina West, and
Scrumptious. Nico.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
And they don't look like first responders,
Nope.
but they run on over to that other spot. They're about to get the van.
If Rocky Horror Picture Show had first responders.
When 3 guys dressed as cops, but these look like Party City cops, come in and basically scam them into getting the keys to the van.
Yes.
So now they're without a van. They make their way back.
Well, no, Nina West dies.
Oh my God. Nina West's character falls from a great height, but she's not dead. She just needs help, which means that Sam would have to come down and get her.
Mm-hmm.
And she basically sacrifices herself to save her child. I don't know what I was supposed to feel, but it definitely wasn't sadness over these characters.
I don't know. Maybe I'm dead inside. I don't know.
Dre's wife, the nurse.
Yes.
She realizes she needs to leave the hospital for 2 reasons. One, she wants to check on her wife, but also the hospital, as we're told, has been overrun by zombies.
Also, Lizzie, that's Riki Lindhome, is pregnant.
Oh, we need to get back to that.
Yes, we do. Put a pin in that. Okay.
Then that drug-addicted trans woman in the hospital, they have to bring her ass along. I don't know what she provided.
She provided...
Except one more character to worry about.
She was the impetus to leave and get out of there.
But she wasn't the impetus to leave. The hospital was being overrun by zombies, and the main nurse we're focused on, Riki Lindhome.
Well, Lizzie was trying to take her ass to the gathering area in the cafeteria until we hear somebody die on the intercom.
Right, so they're told they need to... Well, that's true.
So anyway, she takes...
Either way, they make their way to the warehouse.
Also, driving in Brooklyn during a zombie apocalypse, there would be more traffic. I'm telling you.
The resolve for this movie, which is so outrageous to me, is...
No, wait. Are you going to talk about how Lizzie stops and tries to help the zombie mom?
Oh, God.
There's a lady with a baby, and she's like, oh, no, I have to stop because the baby might not be a zombie, but it clearly is. It's spray painted with silver glitter.
So they decide that the way to get out of this situation is they're going to put on a performance, open up the warehouse doors, and let the zombies come in and party. So that's why Sam becomes Samonse. And then we get the mildly homophobic stepbrother. So
he's come around.
He's come around.
We haven't even said his name, have we?
Is it Bobby?
Barry, played by Quincy Dunn Baker.
Okay, I did like him. He also feels like a real actor.
He does. He does start using the proper pronouns as well.
But they start doing this performance of Kesha's Blow. And then at the same time, they're fighting the zombies.
Wait, but then they put together an outfit and he puts a bunch of pop can lids on
like
his
the tabs on soda cans.
But hundreds of them. They take the time to crush the cans.
It's just like...
And Dominique Jackson does a change. She comes out looking like bootleg Angelina in Eternals.
Yeah. They fight the zombies. They're able to get outside of the warehouse. And then who shows up?
In the alley, and there's no one there.
Who shows up? Riki Lindhome with that trans lady.
Yes.
And they're towing a pride parade float.
Uh-huh.
Like the kind you see at every parade where they're all dancing to I Will Survive.
Yes.
And so everyone gets on this float, and then the film ends. And then we get a mid-credit scene where they did make it onto the ferry.
Well, you forget Samonse has to go rescue Dre.
Sure.
Okay, anyway.
But the mid-credit scene is that they're all on the ferry, and we see that the one dancer / stripper, Scrumptious, is infected. So this might not have a happy ending.
The fact that it ended was happy, though.
Okay.
Also, Tina Romero gives Nico gives the most obvious shout out to Night of the Living Dead,
which is
I thought was so awkward because if you don't know it, it seems like why'd they say that? Don't you remember early on? He's like, they're coming for you, Barbara.
Yes, I do remember.
Because I used to have an anthropology professor. She was this dried up old lady that looked like Woody Allen when I was an undergrad. And remember what classes where you had to do labs?
Of course.
Which I hated because I'm like, God, another hour of class on a different day. But I would say that every day, and she'd look at me like I was such a freak. I'd be like, Barbara.
Wow. Okay, just going through my notes. I think because we were talking about how this is not subversive and what more interesting stories would be. And I think one version, if they wanted to stick with what they had, was I don't know why we needed this outside scenario with the hospital. Why couldn't this have just been any random night at a gay bar?
Let's talk about the warts and all of the queer community and use that as an example for where its characters, actually learn something. It's
well, but I'm saying that if you work with what you have, they could have kept it simple.
Yes.
And just stayed in the bar when this zombie apocalypse breaks out and how these people respond to it. And maybe, and then you could add the social commentary of what people's priorities are. And
well, you brought up Gaspar Noé's climax, which I think would be great. If you don't have the extras or the budget to make a full nightclub scene, make it so that these people are practicing to open up for it and the zombie apocalypse happens.
This film suffers from what a lot of films that try to depict a nightclub do, which is they're too well lit, they're too sparsely populated.
Yes.
And then the sound editing and score for this movie, I don't think are very well done.
Which is funny because Blitz Berlin did the score.
I like the sound, I don't like the sound. I like the selections, but the sound mixing is really weird.
Yes, and that's not the composer's fault. They also just did the Silent Night, Deadly Night remake, Blitz Berlin.
So yeah, I wish we could have just pared it down. We don't need to go to a hospital. We just focus on this group of people at a nightclub that's shot to look like an actual nightclub, and then take some of that extra money you save and get more extras to fill this club up. And then we actually say something about what people's priorities are, how they react in an emergency, how maybe some people don't feel safe to ask for help. There are so many things I think we could have done. The opening with that queen cruising the church, that feels edgy.
Right.
That's commentary on how people maybe don't respect
the
sanctity of certain areas because they're looking for something. That's a very common thing you find.
Or they don't take advantage of the information in front of them. They're glued to the phone. And if you're receiving emergency alerts that you're bypassing to see what dick is nearby, I mean,
Well, or bypassing the fact that you see a bloody phone and you're still preoccupied with trying to find the man.
That would be in the room in this. I mean, even though that opening is promising, it's still nonsense. And my thought was this could go either way.
The dancer/stripper named Nico, who calls himself Scrumptious, I thought he looked exactly like Alicia Keys. Exactly. If you shave the mustache, that was Alicia Keys.
Oh, Tomas Matos. They're also in Fire Island.
You read a funny comment on Letterboxd about this movie that said, this is what Cuomo thinks will happen if New York elects Mamdani. Okay, there was another funny moment when we see the mayor get on TV to make an announcement.
Yeah. I forgot Tom Savini makes a cameo. Mm-hmm.
And that was actually kind of the vibe that I think would have also worked. This grimy man who's the mayor, who's talking to the people clearly on green screen.
It's awkward.
And then there's clearly some woman there with him who's probably distracting him from official business.
I mean, he is a special effects wunderkind, but he also notably directed the 1990 remake of Night of the Living Dead. So it's a meaningful cameo.
Again, I think this film feels, because we were talking earlier, because I've watched a lot of 90s queer cinema. Somehow those films felt better made and better acted
because we weren't as assimilated then. I think that the queer community is, despite, again, there's a tenuousness, but I think that we've become too comfortable still, especially art. Queer artists used to be in your face.
Because when you get to the early 2000s, independent queer cinema feels very different. That's when it starts to become, and then you were talking about because we had said that this film, Queens of the Dead, almost feels like we're stuck in
the gay village.
The gay village, but of old.
Yes.
Like back in the early 2000s when West Hollywood, from like La Brea all the way to Doheny, was just like rainbows everywhere and gay stores.
Which is great. I think that I love that too. But
no, I love that too. But then it's like, well, times have changed. So this feels like, I don't know, this feels dated to me. I also felt like, I know someone's going to hear this and hate that I'm saying this about this movie, but it also feels like a COVID film to me.
well, it feels cheap. Yeah, I don't know. The scent, it's too superficial.
But part of why I'm saying this is the casting. It has that early 2000s casting of like, let's get the who's who of queer celebrity actors,
right,
and plop them in a movie. And it just feels like this random hodgepodge. Like, I almost feel like it's trying to appeal to everyone without offending anyone.
That's the problem. That's like, Eve Lindley being in Boys as well, or Bros. That was that problem. It's because I think two queer women, Aaron Judge was the co-writer, wrote this. And yes, it's trying too hard to appease everybody, but it's like, don't write things. You don't write things for everybody because ultimately they'll be for nobody.
Well, also when you think about queer nightlife, like I understand that they were trying to have the United Colors of Benetton in this movie, but this is not what queer nightlife looks like. When you go to West Hollywood and you walk into, I mean, it's mostly people trying to be clones of each other.
But no, Brooklyn, Williamsburg, there is, there's more diversity for sure than West Hollywood, but that is something that could have been examined as well. But if you're going to have like a healthy, diverse nightlife sequence, you can make use of that. But
maybe I'm old, and because I don't go out much, this did not feel like what I think 2025 nightlife is like. It does feel like early 2000s gay movie to me.
Well, I think it's just very confused about what exactly are we supposed to take away from this, and why would we want to continue on with it? Because
the main thing I felt was that queer people, like this group of people, like they get in each other's way because they're more preoccupied with themselves.
I mean, how hot would it have been if the coming out of the gate, Tina Romero, because her father had a series of films, and I granted that's only because, by luck and circumstance in this industry. But what if she had come out of the date swinging strong with a central perspective of one of the characters, thinking that if this hits this hard and gets some attention, I can continue on with queer zombie movies and utilize the perspectives of other characters.
I also think the stakes are too low. These zombies move very slowly. They don't, like, I never felt like anyone was in danger.
I agree.
Like with these zombies, they seem very easily dispatched. They just stand there. I mean, Margaret Cho, it's in the trailer. Like they just stand there and let her drill a hole in their head. Like, okay.
These zombies are so unserious. I don't know.
Well, speaking of unserious, we get a scene when the trio go as first responders and they use electric scooters. And they're riding those stupid electric scooters, like weaving in and out of zombies.
Yeah.
Some of which are on their phone. But again, the whole like over reliance on phone use, it just reads as silly, because I didn't mention that in the end, when they have the performance and they're able to get out of the warehouse, they realize they left Katy O'Brien, Dre, in the warehouse. So they're like, how are we going to get her out? And that's when Dominique Jackson gets on live.
Yes.
Like Instagram live. And all the zombies stop to look at their phones. I mean, that's beyond silly.
Well, especially because we saw another zombie, Scrump. I like how Nico says scrumptious. Their little friend is a zombie, and they eat the phone.
Right. There's no consistency in how these zombies behave. I like silly, dumb shit.
Yeah, but there's a place for that, I guess.
If you're going to be this dumb, I think the message needs to be really hard hitting.
I agree. And you and I were, as we are wont to do, talk about what could have enhanced this. I think it would have been so fierce and sexy and troubling and subversive if this had been a queer nightclub scene where all the things that go on in some of these spaces on the dance floor and beyond with drugs and sex, and how maybe there is an origin story of something happening in this environment, and then using the very queer people that maybe get in their own way, showing how resilient we can be as a community when we work together and stomp that shit out.
Yeah, what if the virus that creates this rage-like effect is actually like a combination of some sort of antibiotic resistant strain of gonorrhea mixed with like
Some
the
kind of weird new
HIV
street
virus.
drug.
Yeah, or like the like prep drug, and then maybe some weird street drug, and that is what creates it. Because then that would be subversive, because then that's commentary on our own behavior and how we created this problem.
Right.
But that's not what this movie's trying to do. I also forgot to return to the idea that Katy O'Brien Dre, her wife, Lizzie, is pregnant.
Uh-huh.
And Dre finds this out because her brother-in-law tells her, I'm so excited. I don't care if it's a he, she, or they. I'm going to teach them how to
Plum.
because he's a plumber by
How
trade.
to eat plum.
And Katy O'Brien is like, she's pregnant? Okay, first of all,
How'd she get pregnant?
how'd she get pregnant then?
What? Like,
So your wife is just out in here letting men shoot her club up, hoping that she gets pregnant?
have you been
and you
trying?
don't know?
I don't know. Did she steal some eggs at the hospital or sperm at the hospital? What happened?
I thought that was insane.
Because it's stupid.
How the hell do you not know that your wife
And then it's like
your wife is pregnant?
that should have come at the beginning, and then that's more pressure.
Well, it raises the stakes.
Well, it raises the stakes and more pressure on Dre to be like, maybe this nightclub promoting gig is not like, it raises the stakes for tonight to be a success, because how can I justify as an impending parent keeping this occupation?
I can already see the negative comments, and like, I don't understand what camp comedy is. I don't think this is effective as camp, is what I'm saying. It's not effective as camp comedy. I don't know what social commentary it's presenting to me well, and that's why I'm disappointed.
First of all, if you can actually define camp, please go read Susan Sontag's article about it. And camp sensibilities. But camp historically has been failed art. How something has failed to achieve its intended whatever.
Well, I think camp's also evolved into like a style or an energy.
Purposefully bad.
Well,
I think that's kitsch.
Sure, but I think that's how people interpret that. So that's fine too. Like, I mean, if that's how people define it, I'm just saying that I don't think it works in that way either.
Yeah, I don't think it works as kitsch either. And again, I think there's a place for kitsch. Look at many people's kitchens.
The idea that like this is about queer community and survival. I mean, sure, in the most basic form, you have a room full of queer people trying to not be killed and they get out. So sure. And then found family. I didn't necessarily, I mean, I guess like the reconnection of Sam with Dre, the really loose connection between Sam and his drag mother, Nina West.
Well, Romero, the director, talks about how hard it was to kill some of her characters. But I don't believe, in my opinion, I didn't like this film. I'm not led to care about these characters. Where's the heart?
Well, then, because it's like, oh, when in crisis, we will, as queer people, fight beside each other. And I do think that is true sometimes. Usually whenever queer people think their very specific needs are being taken away from them, then they want to unify.
Like traveling during COVID.
Like, or someone's going to take away their PrEP.
But that's a fatal misstep with the Dre character, is turning on the music towards the end of this, which is so stupid. Like, that's the way that they come together.
Well, and then I don't understand, because not like, well, yeah, they come together, but like, the people who are already in the room or the zombies?
The people that are already in the room. Like, we're going to dance until the world ends, Brittany.
But they also had the plan that they were going to let in the zombies.
Well, but that's Samanse. That's Samanse's plan. But before Samanse gets back with whatever.
You're right.
Katy O'Brien turns on the music and it's like,
So we're going to party till the world ends.
Okay. And get drunk and be sitting ducks and not be vigilant. Okay.
Yeah. But there's a lot of pressure, I'm assuming, when your dad is like a legendary, like he's synonymous with zombie movies.
Well, that's why it's like, why didn't you have a killer script? Why? I don't know. I mean, I don't have that pressure, but trust that if my father was a zombie icon, I'd be like, this zombie movie is going to utilize my community and nobody's going to be able to say shit.
I believe this film is currently streaming on Shudder. So, if you like drag, if you like silly zombie movies, then I guess this would be of interest. I was disappointed. What would you give Queens of the Dead?
As I prefaced, as we started talking about this, my score went down increasingly, but it stayed at a 1. I'm giving it a 1 out of 5.
I'm going to give it 1.5 out of 5. I don't think it works very well, unfortunately. Okay, before we sign off, I know there were a couple of things you wanted to talk about. First, we have been watching the newest season of Canada's Drag Race.
Oh God, thank you for bringing that up. They have gotten better. They stepped up. What is this, season 6?
Well, you know, I'm a Brad Goreski fan, and he chose not to come back to the show, so he has been replaced with the stylish Carson Kressley.
You have never seen Carson look so disappointed so much.
I do like Carson Kressley. I think he does what he's asked to do.
He gets good feedback. Yeah. But
he's not playing with Brooklyn as much as Brad Goreski was.
Well, I don't think Brad Goreski felt obsequious to Brooklyn, and Carson is kind of like, no, bitch.
Well, Carson seems like, I get paid to do this job, so let me come in and do my job, which I like.
Mm-hmm.
But the judging this season has been kind of wild, specifically with the lip syncs. And for anyone who doesn't watch the show, you don't care. But for anyone who has watched the newest season of Canada's Drag Race, I would love to know if they agree that the judging and who they're saying won the lip sync, especially the last 3 episodes.
The last 3 episodes, and I don't know what episode we're on, but the last 3, I
was screaming.
I strongly disagreed.
And I don't even care about these contestants.
Not really. And I didn't even like that one. I think it was Dulce's time to go, but she did the better lip sync.
Well, I think what the show is doing is they're definitely playing, because I think with US, they kind of edit things so that it all kind of makes sense for the direction production wants to go.
Mm-hmm.
I think with Canada, they're just doing what they want to do, like even if the editing doesn't match. which
I guess you can make an argument that is refreshing, because there's maybe an argument for authenticity there, but I don't. It
might be strategic that it's getting the audience riled up, and
I guess, but then it's just like,
because it's working.
Because who's the one that just won the last lip sync? PM. I cannot stand PM's drag.
You mean Lost?
Oh my God.
She's the one who lost.
No, she stayed. PM stayed.
Oh, that's right. She did stay. Yeah, I can't believe they didn't save Maya.
And they danced. They made 3 queens dance to a Sarah McLachlan song. Not even a Sarah McLachlan remix. That shit was so boring.
Anyway, I know people don't care. And then you wanted to read.
Oh, I finished reading Patti Smith's Just Kids, and I have to say, I mean, I'm familiar with her enough. She's an icon, but I have to say, reading this made me kind of, I find her fascinating and poignant and endearing, and just like a beautiful human being that I felt like I was reading about, and her relationship with Robert Mapplethorpe. And I have to say that if you like memoirs and you haven't read this, I highly recommend it. And she's such a goddamn little weirdo, and I absolutely love it. And she, before she decided that or followed her path as a rock star, she was an artist and a poet, and she includes some of her poetry at the end of the book. And every now and then I do read some poetry on this podcast. I think the last one was Nikki Giovanni when she died.
Okay, well, please indulge us.
Because I've read this poem several times after finishing the book, and it's called Wild Leaves. Are you ready?
Yes.
Wild Leaves by Patti Smith. Wild leaves are falling, falling to the ground. Every leaf a moment, a light upon the crown. That we'll all be wearing in a time unbound. And wild leaves are falling, falling to the ground. Every word that's spoken, every word decreed, every spell that's broken, every golden deed. All the parts we're playing, binding as the reed, and wild leaves are falling, wild, wild leaves. The spirits that are mentioned, the myths that have been shorn, everything we've been through, and the colors worn, every chasm entered, every story wound, and wild leaves are falling, falling to the ground. As the campfire's burning, as the fire ignites, all the moments turning in the stormy bright, well enough the churning, well enough believe, the coming and the going, wild, wild leaves.
That was a quality moment.
Oh, I love Patti Smith.
Well, we can end on that. Ta-ta.